My goal in this video is to get you to the point where you could recreate something very similar to what I did for my intro, but put your own unique twist on it. I also want to show you some of the problems that I encountered and how I troubleshot them. I want to show you a thing or two that I did not do, but that you might have some fun with. And I want to show you how to do a fade out in the most computer friendly way. Let's start with an item of troubleshooting. When I left you in the last video, I told you I was going to select all these letters and turn them into symbols. But look here, when I try to select the L, I either get the A or the C. Same thing happens with the I. Pause the video and see if you can think of a way to fix this problem. I'll give you a slight hint here. The way that I fixed it was I also remembered that whenever I'm going to animate something, I want that something on a layer by itself, if that helps. Okay, I'll give the solution now. What I did was I said, okay, these need to be on layers by themselves, so why not use the command where I can separate things out to different layers? So I'll grab everything here, select it, go to Modify, Timeline, Distribute to Layers. And look at here, because they were named, how nice of a job it did in distributing these to the layers and naming the layers for us. Let me show you how I did that thing where I made the C start out normal, grow, and go back. If I recall correctly, that happened after a second or two where the entire word had a chance to fade in. So I'll go find a little spot to do this, about maybe 2 seconds in. And let's go ahead. I can see the layer that it's on right here. So I will do my F6 and do a couple more F6, because what I want is it to go from here to large and then back to small. So that would be 3 different keyframes of information. And I'm just guessing at where to put them. And please remember this, you can always use F5, Shift F5, you can move things, so you never have to worry about getting things right the first time. So to make that big, I'm going to select that middle keyframe, go down, make sure I hold down the Shift key so I'm not distorting my text. And I'll make that big like that, and then I'll just click here, Shift click here, right click, insert my classic tween. So now it looks like that. And if you recall looking at my intro, the rest of them started doing the same thing, and they all started out at about the same speed, and then they got a little faster as they went. So no need for me to show you each and every one of those, but I will show you how to do a super friendly fade in. So we want this to fade in at the beginning to look like there was nothing there on the stage, and then all of a sudden this showed up. Now you know from what you've already done that you could take this whole entire word and you could change the alpha on that symbol. But let's say you were going to also fade out at the end when it's done. Well, you're also going to have more stuff on the stage. Here is a way to do this when you have a solid colored stage that uses very little resources. I'm going to Command minus so you can see my whole entire stage. I'm going to create a new layer up at the top, and I'm going to call this cover. And I am going to make a shape that is, it could be bigger or it could be the exact size of the stage. I'll make it just a little bit bigger. I'll click and drag, move it away, because I want this to become the same exact color of the stage, and rather than trying to figure out what that was, I will grab the eyedropper tool from over here and eyedrop on the stage. Now I'll move that back into place. And did I not put that at the very top? No, I thought I did, but it looks like I wasn't quite at the top, which is why I can see the A and the S through there. So now this is going to become my helpful fade in. So what I need to do before I can animate this is turn it into a symbol. F8, I'll call it cover. And here I'm going to go from the cover being completely opaque, meaning that I can't see through it, and somewhere close to a second, I will make a copy of that, and I will go to a state of this object with the alpha at 0. And I will animate that. And so now at the beginning we have nothing, fades in, and then our things start happening. And if I decided that the things didn't start happening quick enough, I just have to find out where the first one is. And there's a multitude of ways that I can change this. One is a click and a shift click. Just bring it back. So now there's a little bit more expedience in getting things started. I also could have swiped across all of my layers in question and done a shift F5. Now, just for demonstration purposes, let's say that we wanted the L to do multiple things. We wanted it to kind of mimic the C, but we also wanted it to change colors as it animates, and we also want it to spin around. Can we do that all in one frame? Yes, we can. So let's select the L to find out what frame it is on, and it looks like the cover's getting in the way, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that cover so I can't select it. I'll try to click again. I'm getting the A, so I'll lock the A. Try one more time. What am I getting? Nothing. Maybe I got to back up a little bit here. Just after the fade in. Well, let's lock the C. We're bound to be able to get it one way or another. There we go. Okay, so now if we scroll to the highlight layer, we can see where it is. And we'll start this just before the A gets back, just to make it more interesting. Same thing, we're just going to give ourselves 3 different F6s in this case because of the fact that the starting place and the ending place use the exact same symbol. So it's just the middle state that's different. So let's see, can we do a bunch of different things at once? Again, this is the frame that is selected, the middle one. So we'll make that bigger. We'll go into the properties. Make sure that we are on the object. Scroll down here. And I'm wondering why I can't see all the things that I can do to this. And one of the main reasons is most of the things I want to do have to do with tweening. So I'll put my tween on first. Let's see, this selection span between. You must convert it to a symbol. What? Well, I thought we already converted that. Oh, no, we didn't, because remember, I told you how to get them on their own layers, but I never converted them to a symbol. So that was almost a rookie mistake there. And if this warning didn't come up, all of a sudden I would look in my library and wonder what the heck was going on. So I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to do that. And not only that, I have to get rid of these other frames. Otherwise, I would have just text here. So I'm going to control click or right click on my layer, and I'm going to clear these frames. Then I'm going to go back to this keyframe, and I'm going to F8 and turn that into a symbol. And that'll just be L, and then I'll have to remember to go back and do the same thing to the I. Now that I've done that, I can put in my F6 and my F6. And now, not only when I look at frame do I see more options of things that I can do. That's the other thing that lets me know it's a symbol. And I'll go put in my classic tween. And so here, in this section here, let's go ahead and we'll put a rotate on it clockwise. So now there's two things, almost two things, because I do need to scale it up. Now there's two things happening, a rotate and a spin around. And just for the heck of it, let's also click this, go into color effects, and we will change the alpha on it. You know what, no, let's not do the alpha, let's do a tint. There we go, let's make it red as it comes out. So there we go, there's three things happening at the same time. If your concept of this intro is totally different to mine and you didn't want anything on stage at the beginning, especially completed like my word classic here, instead you wanted things flying in from off the stage. So let's do that. Let's take A and make it so that when the animation starts out, the A is missing and that it comes to a perfect stop right about after the A is finished. Now, stop the video and think about what is the best way to do this. And let me give you some hints here. We know exactly where we want the A to be finished. And a lot of times in animating, we know exactly where we want to end, but we're not so clear on how to get there and how to get there perfectly. So one thing that I did earlier to help was I made this temp end, and we could turn this on, and when we turn our A off, we could see exactly where it's going to end up. That's helpful, but there's even a better way yet to do it, which you did in your frame by frame. So pause. I'm going to give the solution now. The best solution, and I'm going to turn the eyeball off on this temp end so that we can't see it. The best solution in this case is to animate backwards. Go from the finished animation and back up. So let's do exactly that. We're going to click on the A, have the playhead about where I want this to come in perfectly. Let's find out what layer that is on, which I may have already locked that. So since we named the layers, let's use the names here, and we're just looking for A. There it is. Yep, and it was locked. Okay. So I'm going to put in a keyframe here, F6. And I want that to come from off the stage. So we're going to do it in reverse. We're going to throw it from the finished position to off stage, and then we'll just simply reverse that. So we're doing another F6, and we'll take our A, bring it over here. We will put in our tween, and then just for the fun of it, let's also rotate it counterclockwise. Now all we need to do, click on our first frame, shift click on our last frame, go to modify, timeline, and reverse frames. And now if we scrub our playhead, we can see all of our things are happening here, and then the A comes into where we want it. We have two things we have to fix. One is the program took out the rotation when it reversed it. So that's not a problem. We'll just put that back in. The other problem that we have, though, is that the A is there at the beginning, and then it disappears. Well, we want it disappeared from the very beginning. Hopefully you can figure out how easy of a fix that is, given that you have a keyframe here and you have a keyframe here. Easiest answer is just simply come back here. That A automatically selected. It looks funny because it's below the cover, but if we hit delete, that A goes away. You can see by the blank keyframe. Then we get that, and our A comes flying into place. One more micro issue and an easy fix. Command return to preview our animation. And what's going on? Why do we see all this doubling going on here? Well, let me show you. The reason is we made that, what did I call it? Temp end. Even though the eyeball is turned off, we still see that. And that's just kind of the way Animate works. There is a way to change it in properties, but I don't recommend it. What I do recommend is if you have something that's here just to help you and you don't want to see it when you preview, just tell the layer that it's something other than what it is. So the way you do that, you go to the left of the name, double click, it makes this little panel fly open, and tell it for right now that it is a guide. We'll talk more about these features in an upcoming project, but now if we do our command return, we will get our preview where it fades in and then the things start to happen. Let's pretend that we're right at the junction where we go from the intro to the body and we are ready to make the transition. So we've got a couple things that we have to fix. One is we want to do a gentle fade out, and the other is once the body starts, we don't want to see any more of the introduction. Well, we've already talked about how easy of a fix that is. We'll just simply select all of the frames in question. So I'm going to click there, hold down the mouse and click directly above with the shift key down. And then I'll do an F7, and so that's as good as an eraser because anything on those layers that comes up from that point on disappears. But we don't want a real harsh from this to this, so that's when we're going to go back to our cover. We'll do it on the same layer. We'll bring our cover out, and let's say maybe just a little more than a second is what we want. We will do an F7. Since we already have a cover, we'll go into our library and notice, double check your library, there's nothing new or accidental has shown up in there. We'll grab the cover, we'll bring an instance of that out. And what happened? Let's try that one more time. No, oh, I have it locked. There we go. Okay, so it's on there. We're going to go from here to here. Put in an F6, and this time we're doing the opposite of what we did at the beginning. This is how we want it to look on the last frame, but it is the first frame that we need to change the opacity. So we make sure that object is selected over here, and we go to our alpha, crank the alpha down. And now we have everything come together, fade out, and then the body starts. So good luck with your intro. Can't wait to see all of them.